Bippity boppity boo. In 2 Samuel chapter 9, there is a real life Cinderella story. Seriously. Kind of makes you go bippity boppity boo. Now, David, we know so far from what we know of David that he's a different kind of king. And back in those days, once somebody became king, their whole mission at first was to wipe out the family of the former king. They wanted to wipe out all memory, all the family, everything of the former king so that they wouldn't have any competition. Wanted to eliminate the competition. But David is a different kind of king. So he reacts with kindness. And he also had made a promise to his best friend Jonathan, who was the son of the king. Now David remembers his promise one day and he says, is there anybody left of the house of Saul that I can show some kindness to? So they do some investigating, they do some digging, and they find one of Saul's former slaves named Ziba. Real classy dude. We'll learn that later. But his name is Ziba, which sounds like kind of a carbonated beverage. And Ziba tells him the truth, that there is one more descendant of Saul. And he is the son of Jonathan. And his name is Mephibosheth, one of the strangest names in the Bible. Mephibosheth. Say that 3 times fast. Go ahead. Okay, it's tricky. Mephibosheth, once his life was really promising. I mean, he was the grandson of the king. So when he was a baby, he lives in the palace. And he gets all of the benefits of being the grandson of the king. He has the coolest toys. He's got the coolest little bedroom. And his life is good. He is in line to be the king. His grandpa is the king. His dad will be the next king. And then him. And then one day, his entire world crashes down. He's only about 5 years old, and his world comes crashing down. In the same day, his dad and his grandpa die. And as a result of that, there is chaos in the castle. People are going crazy. And one of his nurses picks him up, but then she drops him in the midst of all the chaos. And as a result of the fall, as a result of his drop, he is crippled. As a result of the fall, he's crippled. He's dropped by someone who was supposed to take care of him. Somebody who was supposed to protect him drops him. And as a result of that, he is crippled for life. Now, David is looking for him. And Mephibosheth is living in this depressing little city called Lo-debar. Lo-debar basically means forgotten place, because that's what he thinks. He thinks he's been forgotten, thinks he's been left behind, thinks he's been broken, and that's it. His life is over. But David brings him to the palace. Now, Mephibosheth thinks he is toast. He thinks he's dead meat. He thinks this is if history is any indicator, he's going to be eliminated. But instead, David reacts with kindness. And instead, David remembers a promise that he kept. And so David makes sure that Mephibosheth is taken care of. And he gives him a place at his table. In verse 11, it says this, from then on, Mephibosheth ate at the king's table as though he were one of David's own sons. So Mephibosheth is given this place of honor in David's family. And it doesn't matter what's happened in the past. And he would go in and sit at the table, and he would be the same as everyone else, because the tablecloth would cover his crippleness. The tablecloth would cover his brokenness. It's a beautiful thing. It's also a pretty cool picture of what happened to us. We were crippled as the result of a fall. As a result of a fall, we were broken. And a lot of us have been dropped by people who were supposed to care for us, by people who were supposed to protect us. We've been dropped and we've been hurt. But we need to know that there is a God who keeps his promises. There is a God who remembers, oh yeah, I promised to bring them into my family. I promised. And he keeps his promise. So Cinderella's story is our story. And so we need to get off of the cellar floor. We need to realize that there's been a place set at the table for us. That we need to realize that there is a God who loves us and invites us to be a part of his family and to sit at the table with him and enjoy all the benefits of that. God bless you guys. Giddy up.